Carrie is a tale of a girl who just wanted to fit in, but instead retaliates bullying by introducing pyrotechnics at prom. Alright, hello everyone. So, today we're going to be talking about Carrie, director Brian De Palma's 1976 supernatural horror film based on Stephen King's 1974 debut novel. It stars Sissy Spacek as the shy and friendless Carrie White, as well as Piper Laurie, Amy Irving, Nancy Allen, William Catt, Betty Buckley, John Travolta, and PJ Soles in the supporting cast. Since you already know this video is just going to be another plot recap, let's just cut the crap and get to it then. And as always, spoilers ahead if you haven't seen this movie. So the movie opens up with a bunch of girls in PE class playing volleyball, and here we get introduced to Carrie White, who quite frankly is just terrible at sport. And it doesn't help that she is mercilessly bullied by her peers, both physically and verbally.
You eat shit.
Anyway, then it cuts to this explicit opening credit scene in the changing rooms, and while Carrie is taking a shower in what seems like the first moment of peace she had in years, she experiences her first period. Unfortunately, nobody was even bothered to teach her about menstruation, so she starts freaking out thinking she's bleeding to death. She tries to get help from her peers, who instead of giving sympathy, perform their usual method of trauma management, which involves pelting her with tampons while verbally abusing her. Because, you know, that's how normal, well-adjusted people act. This scene's so horrific that you just feel nothing but bad for Carrie. Literally, her first experience with menstruation turns into some public spectacle, made worse by the fact that she has absolutely no idea what's going on. It perfectly sets the tone for how Carrie's life is about to go down from bad to utterly disastrous. Fortunately, the PE teacher, Miss Collins, intervenes and does damage control, calming Carrie down. By that I mean slapping her across the face. She reports the incident to the school's head teacher, who for some reason seems more preoccupied with consistently mispronouncing Carrie's name.
Come in, Cassie.
Carrie.
Go home. Take care of yourself, Cassie.
It's Carrie.
Sorry about this incident, Cassie.
It's Carrie!
And it's from the changing room scene to her getting sent home that we see the first signs of her telekinetic powers, such as breaking a shower light, flipping over an ashtray, and knocking a kid off his bike. Moving on, we learn that Carrie's home life is about as fun as watching one of Amy Schumer's stand-up shows, because she lives with her abusive and religiously fanatical mother, Margaret.
Mama, I was so scared. I thought I was done. And the girls, they all laughed at me and threw things at me.
And he
Mama.
was weak. Say it.
No, Mama.
He was weak.
No.
He was weak.
No.
He was weak. Say it.
No,
son.
Mama.
Say it.
He was weak.
She forcibly implies to Carrie about how her period was caused by sin, and then in a loving mother-daughter bonding session, drags her into a prayer closet so she can repent to God for forgiveness. And you see here that Carrie is just trying to survive, and it's honestly a miracle she hasn't already snapped and probably lit the house on fire with her mind. But this scene does give us some insight into Carrie's internal world. It's always a mix of confusion, pain, and longing to just be accepted and understood, all of which for some reason are sadly unavailable to her at this point. Meanwhile at school, Miss Collins takes some time to educate Carrie's bullies on the finer points of human decency with exercised attention.
1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4.
If they don't do it,
3 days suspension and refusal of your prom tickets.
What?
however, one of the bullies, Chris Hargensen, refuses to continue any longer. Unfortunately for her, she isn't the main character.
Well, there are 10 minutes left. Stick 'em up your...
And so gets smacked in the face by Miss Collins, prompting her to throw a petty tantrum about the whole thing, hoping she'd get some sympathy from the other girls. Thankfully, none of them will bother to have her back.
Shut up, Chris. Just shut up.
And so, in possibly the most anticlimactic moment in film history, she gets banned from prom altogether.
Okay, the show's over.
Moving on, Carrie realizes she can control objects with her mind when she gets upset, and begins researching books on telekinesis. Meanwhile, one of the girls, Sue Snell, asks her boyfriend Tommy Ross to invite Carrie to prom, because she regrets playing her part in bullying Carrie.
Okay, I'll do it.
However, Miss Collins believes the proposition is a prank, but both Tommy and Sue insist it as genuine.
What is the big deal?
Because it is a very big deal for Carrie White, and you know it.
And after driving over to her house, the former finally convinces Carrie to accept. And somehow word spreads faster than the amount of views this video will probably get.
Did you hear about Tommy Ross?
What?
He's taking Carrie White to the prom. No. Yeah.
When Carrie talks to her mother about her plans to attend the prom, she forbids her,
It's too late for me to...
droning on about how everyone will laugh at her. But Carrie doesn't want to hear it because she wants to go no matter what. Margaret also sees evidence of Carrie's telekinetic powers
You must renounce this power. You must give it up. You must never use it.
and declares her a witch.
Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
All the while, Chris deals with a prom ban situation in the most sensible way by plotting revenge against Carrie. After seducing her boyfriend Billy Nolan, they break into a farm and kill pigs to drain their blood onto a bucket, which they eventually place above the school stage in the gym. Fast forward to prom night. Everyone's having fun in that. Carrie learns about Miss Collins' prom experience.
I had a date with the captain of the basketball team. And he was 6 feet 7 inches tall. So I went out and bought a pair of 3-inch spike heels so that our kiss goodnight would be less awkward, right? So anyway,
And she also has fun with her date Tommy. They dance, they kiss. All the while, Chris and Billy hide under the stage while her friend Norma and other conspirators switch the ballots to ensure Tommy and Carrie win the prom king and queen title. And after this long ass shot documenting what I've just said prior, they do win.
I give you Tommy Ross and Carrie White.
Let's check Margaret back home and see what she's doing. Never mind. Anyway, Carrie stands on stage with Tommy, finally beginning to feel accepted by her peers. Unfortunately, we're not watching a rom-com drama film because Sue, who just snuck in to witness the celebration, realizes Chris and Billy's plan and tries to intervene. However, she wasn't wearing any plot armor because Miss Collins spots her and promptly kicks her out, thinking she's gonna play a prank. And this pretty much eliminates any hope of preventing the situation that's about to happen next. Carrie gets completely doused in pig's blood and everyone just falls silent. Chris and Billy then sneak out of the school. Tommy gets angry and demands an explanation, but unfortunately gets knocked out after the same bucket fell on him. All the while, Carrie stands on stage completely humiliated as Norma begins to laugh along with other classmates, causing the former to hallucinate that everyone is mocking her, believing it was their plan all along.
We're all sorry, Cassie. We're all sorry, Cassie.
trust me, Carrie. You can trust me.
And here is where she finally snaps. What follows is complete utter chaos as Carrie goes full on psycho and enacts revenge on everyone, which I will play for you in glorious 144p. She telekinetically seals the exits and attacks the students with a fire hose, killing Norma in the process. Miss Collins and some other students try to carry Tommy's body, but she dies. Carrie also electrocutes her head teacher and English teacher, the latter bursting into flames, setting the entire gym on fire. She then leaves the place and seals the doors behind her, leaving the trapped staff and classmates to die. Later on, as Carrie walks home, still covered in pig blood, Chris thinks she's that final girl in every horror film, but no, she is not. Moving on, Carrie arrives home, finding the house completely covered in candles. She takes a bath, cleans herself up, all the while Margaret is hiding behind the bathroom door with a kitchen knife like a bloody psychopath. Margaret eventually does appear, and it's here we found out that Carrie was conceived when Margaret's husband returned drunk one night and had sex with her in a bizarre form of marital rape that Margaret both hated and enjoyed.
I liked I liked it.
Margaret then stabs Carrie in the back, causing her to tumble down the stairs. But before she can deliver the final blow, Carrie sends a barrage of knives flying towards her, killing her, disturbingly mirroring that Saint Sebastian shrine in that prayer closet. Then to add insult to injury, Carrie screams so loud that the house literally collapses on itself. Naturally, she dies in the process. Cut to some time later, where the only survivor of prom night, Sue, has a nightmare where she visits the remains of Carrie's house, and as she goes to lay flowers, the latter's bloodied arm appears and grabs her, and she wakes up screaming, because of course this film needed a final scare. Honestly, Carrie is a really fantastic film. It's perfectly acted, well paced, beautifully shot, and is a perfect blend of psychological horror and a tragic coming-of-age story that explores the consequences of unprocessed trauma. Director Brian De Palma also set up the film's social commentary really well. The bullying Carrie experiences is about the complete lack of empathy or education. The other girl's reactions reflect how society often handles what it doesn't understand, and Carrie's confusion and fear emphasize the trauma caused by ignorance and isolation. What happens when someone whose whole existence was defined by others' cruelty finally snaps and decides to take control. And that's about it for this video. I would appreciate any feedback or mistakes that I made, and if you like this kind of content, I'll do more, so make sure to subscribe.